Joining us now from our Parliament House studio is Dr Brendan Shaw, the Chief Executive Officer of Medicines Australia, the organisation that represents Australia's pharmaceutical industry. Brendan Shaw, thank you so much for being there for us.
Good evening.
Now, tell me, has your body reprimanded these companies in any way for this behaviour that the courts have obviously deemed to have been inappropriate?
Well, I think the first thing to remember is that the patent system is crucial for innovation in many industries. So when Apple invents an iPad, they can patent it and claim that. And similarly in medicines as well, having a patent system is crucial to having new medicines come through in the future. It costs about $1.5 billion and 15 years for a company to develop a new medicine. So having a patent system that allows a company to develop those medicines and provide a commercial return is crucial. It's crucial to developing new medicines, and certainly companies should have the opportunity to protect their intellectual property in the courts.
But that's not in dispute. What is in dispute is the fact that they are granted those patents for between 20 and 25 years, and the idea of giving them a finite number of years is so that other companies can come in and provide competition that reduces prices for consumers.
Absolutely, and we agree with that. And that 20 to 25 years includes the 15-year period where the company's developing the medicine in the laboratory, going through clinical trials and then going through the regulatory approval process. So by the time they go through that process, often there's only 5 to 6 or 7 or 8 years the company has left to recoup, make a financial return on that medicine so they can invest in more medicines. We absolutely support the idea that once a medicine goes off patent, generics should come in, drive competition, drive the price down, and the community should benefit from that.
Now, the courts say with these two drugs specifically that we looked at in that report that the Commonwealth is potentially owed, if you take the figures calculated by the generics industry, that the Commonwealth would be owed something in the order of $800 million with those two drugs combined. Would you fight attempts for the Commonwealth to recoup that money?
Well, look, I haven't seen those figures, and the history of the PBS is littered with different numbers being used all the time. Look, I think this begs the question, though, if the government is going to be pursuing innovator companies where there's been a mismatch in the generics or the patent case, similarly it begs the question whether the Commonwealth is going to compensate originator companies for when the government benefits from an illegal generic coming on the PBS. And there have been examples in the past where a generic brand has come on the PBS and triggered a price cut and subsequently found to be in breach of a patent, and the government hasn't compensated the originator companies. So,
have the originator companies sued?
No, they've asked for compensation, from what I recall, and they never got it. So, yeah, we're happy to have the conversation about checks and balances in the system to make sure it's even on both sides.
But this has been a court order. A court has ordered that the patents that these two companies in particular, Sanofi, Aventis and Pfizer, have had illegitimate patents on their products, that they've gone for far too long, and in the process they've denied consumers up to 16% and possibly more in discounts.
Well, I think we need to be clear, those patents were issued by the government's own IP Australia, so the Patent Office. So it's not the companies that establish the patents themselves, it's the scientific experts in the government's own Patent Office that establish whether there's a patent available. I think what's maybe needed here, I think, is a system where a lot of these issues are resolved before the generic comes on the market. So a lot of these issues about patent eligibility and can be contested before you actually have a drug coming onto the PBS and causing all these issues. And that's something the industry has been recommending to governments for some years. But ironically, the government's actually not accepted that. And ironically, if that system had been in place, then arguably the government might have saved a lot of money and time now.
Now, I think IP Australia works quite independently of government, and the fact is that the volume of patent applications is such that the pressure to get them done quickly means that many of them don't get potentially the close scrutiny that perhaps they deserve. So I've seen examples where people have used the case of the tax office. It's incumbent on the people filing returns to file them correctly and not just hope that the body responsible doesn't find that they've been in breach. It's the same sort of thing here, isn't it? That you're really just sort of slipping these in and hoping that IP Australia don't find them.
No, on the contrary. In fact, we've worked quite closely with the government over a number of years to ensure that the intellectual property system works well and has good standards. We've had a number of years of consultation with the government. The government's recently introduced some reforms into the patent system and the standards that are used there and how the patent system is implemented. And we've supported those, including higher tests for awarding patents, precisely to give clarity to companies and the broader community about what standards are in place for patents. So we would certainly agree that there needs to be a strong patent system, one that's clear and where the standards required to award a patent are clear for everyone.
So just very quickly, in answer to my question, will your industry fight attempts for the government to recoup this money that is now apparently owed to them because of these patents that were illegitimately sought?
Well, that's up to the companies to decide. It's a commercial issue. It's not for me to answer that. And again, you know, I haven't seen those numbers, so I can't comment on those. The important thing here is that we have a patent system that allows companies their day in court, that drives innovation and encourages companies to develop new medicines for people in the future. And we have an industry that invests $1 billion a year in Australia, generates almost $4 billion a year in exports. That's more than the car industry and the wine industry. And we need an intellectual property system that allows generics to come in, but also provides incentives for companies to develop new medicines and new vaccines for diseases like cancer and arthritis and diabetes and all those. And the patent system is critical to making sure that those new medicines can come to the community in the future.
And they've been scrutinised by the courts. But anyway, unfortunately, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being with us, Brendan Shaw.
Thank you.